Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am Matt. This video is a direct response to a video posted by the channel Just One Truth, titled Enoch, a Called Hero on Jewish Monomyth Story Network and Genesis Issues. If you haven't seen the video, check it out first before watching this one. The creator argues that the book of Genesis, Enoch, and much of Jewish scripture are just symbolic overlays on a universal myth pattern. But he's missing something fundamental. Let's go through this text by text and point out where the argument falls apart. Yes, stories across cultures share themes. Floods, heroes, disappearances, rebirths. You're right that Enoch vanishes before the flood like Hercules steps away before the clashing rocks. But that doesn't mean Genesis copied Greek myth. It just means human beings tell stories with structure. What makes Genesis different isn't the bones, it's the soul. In Greek myth, gods are reckless. In Babylonian myth, the world is born of violence. In Genesis, God creates the world by speech. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's not symbolic therapy. That's a worldview. Much of your argument leans on the King James Version, and that's a problem. The KJV is a 17th century Christian translation. It mistranslates Hebrew, injects Christian theology, and ignores Jewish commentary. Let's look at Genesis 1 verse 26 in the King James Version. Let us make man in our image. Now in the Hebrew, Na'aseh Adam B'Tselmenu Kidmutenu, you latch on to let us to claim polytheism. But the word Na'aseh is plural of majesty or deliberation, a literary form. Like in English, if King Charles says, "We shall ascend to the throne," it doesn't mean there is more than one King Charles. Jewish tradition explains that God is addressing his heavenly court, not inviting other gods or sharing power, but teaching humility by consulting with his messengers. Next, let's look at Genesis 6 verse 2. The sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were good. And now in the Hebrew, Vayiru b'nai Elohim et b'not Hadam ki tovo haina. If we look at the Hebrew word, b'nei ha-Elohim, it literally translates to son of God, so clearly that is Jesus. I think not. I argue this verse with evangelicals all the time. You're both interpreting this as divine beings. If we look at verses in Psalm 82 and Exodus 22, it clearly refers to human judges. Many Jewish sources read this as elite men abusing their power. Not angels, not other gods, not Jesus. You're using the exact same verses Christian apologists use to argue for Jesus and the Trinity. While claiming to challenge religious thinking, you're literally using missionary arguments to attack Jewish theology. You say I'm stuck on the surface and that you're accessing deeper layers. But what you call deep is really just self-insertion. You said, I am the ship, I am the dog, I am the goat. That's not Torah. That's introspection. You're treating Genesis as a mirror for your psyche, not as a text with integrity, structure, or community transmission. But here's the thing. Judaism already has a framework for going beyond the surface. There are 4 classic levels of Jewish interpretation. They are broken up into Pishat, the plain meaning of the text; Remez, the hinted meaning, often symbolic; Drash, the interpretive meaning, derived through inquiry or midrash; Sod, the secret or mystical meaning, rooted in Kabbalistic tradition. Each layer builds on the last. None of them are detached from the text. We've been doing that for thousands of years. We just have remained committed to the source, not by projecting ourselves into the story. You're welcome to write poetry or perform Jungian dream analysis. But don't call that interpretation. And don't confuse self-reflection with revelation. You argue the Genesis flood was borrowed from Gilgamesh. But flood stories exist worldwide. In Greek, they have Deucalion and Pyrrha. For Hindus, they have Manu and Matsya. In Mesopotamian, they have Utnapishtim. Native American, Polynesian, Aboriginal, Mayan, Incan, they all have flood myths. This isn't coincidence, it's collective memory. Likely from a real cataclysm around 10,500 BCE, during the Younger Dryas, when massive sea level rises reshaped the world. Researchers like Graham Hancock explored this in Fingerprints of the Gods. Genesis didn't copy a story, it moralized a trauma. The flood becomes about corruption, justice, and covenant. That's not theft. That's transformation. The Hebrew Bible isn't just stories. It's law. It sets down moral obligations, ritual expectations, and a framework for a people in relationship with their Creator. That's not narrative for narrative's sake. It's national revelation, not archetype cosplay. You said the Hebrew Bible was tribal, while other myths were more communal. But tribalism isn't a weakness when it preserved a civilization, a language, and a moral code for 3,000 years. That's not confinement. That's endurance on a supernatural level. You said I distanced myself by telling you to learn Hebrew, but I wasn't shutting you out. I also tell that to evangelical Christians and missionaries. I'm inviting you not to be beholden to the translator. If we were analyzing the Mahabharata or the Tao Te Ching, would we just ignore Sanskrit or Chinese? The Hebrew Bible is no different when it comes to analysis. You've made dozens of videos analyzing Genesis, but never in Hebrew, and never with the tradition that's kept it alive. That's not depth. That's echo. And by the way, let's not forget the kind of translation you're using. The King James Bible is the same version that printed, "Thou shalt commit adultery," aka the Wicked Bible. The same Bible that gave us God's holy ass became a misprinted reality. That's not just a typo. It's a warning. Translation without understanding leads to nonsense. You're not revealing hidden truths. You're quoting the footnotes of a broken telephone. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I had fun and look forward to your response. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out my book. Link in the description below.
Curiosity is a natural human trait, but are you a member of Judaism and been asked questions that felt less like curiosity and more like a challenge? From author Matt Moore comes a powerful and thoughtful response in his book, What Does the Bible Have to Say? Refuting the Christian missionaries' claims, available on Amazon.